2007, the then Minister Jane Hutt announced some funding to develop transition key working in Wales, and we were asked to help support that development, and we've since 2007 been supporting firstly 5 pilot sites across Wales, which was originally funded by the Welsh Government, and then that was much funded by the European Social Fund Reaching the Heights First Footholds grant programme, and that helped then to fund 15 sites across Wales to develop a model way of working with disabled children and young people, 14 to 25. And we were very pleased when Neath Talbot in particular put a bid through to look at changing the way that they were going to work with young people from 14 upwards, and they were looking at largely a whole system change to support those young people into adulthood, but also including their parents and other professionals who were likely to support them through that difficult time in their lives. And I first came to meet Neath Talbot once they'd actually put in their application to talk through the process with them and about what they were going to do. And since then, when Karen James came into post, she's really transformed the thinking in Neath Talbot and has embraced the person-centred key working approach. And we are now sitting here today in Neath Talbot looking at hopefully the work that's been happening in the county, both in the mainstream setting and also in special schools as well.
I came into post in 2011, and at that point we started a pilot looking at person-centred reviews and introducing key working in our first school, which is Ysgol Maes y Coed. From the learning there, we brought that into the mainstream arena, and I've worked with Sandfields, where Chris Prescott has astoundingly transformed the whole process of the reviews here, and we're really keen to share some of that with you today. The young people have been transformed by their experiences, and we've learned things which we really didn't expect, things which have surprised us. The parents have benefited significantly from having their voices heard, and the approach, which is more of a forward-looking, holistic approach now, which takes into consideration everybody's opinions, has allowed us to plan in a really focused and outcome-focused way. Young people have got true transition plans developing, unlike the past in using the old system for reviews. We feel that our young people are far more prepared to be transitioning from school into the next steps, and the college has also benefited because we have introduced one-page profiles, and we've also introduced new reporting format which we are able to share with them. So the soft information about young people that staff and parents have learned and know how to make the day look so well for young people isn't lost on transition. From a strategic level, working with partners in the authority, our ABMU Health Board and the social care teams in adult and children's services have supported us significantly, and we've set up a series of meetings where we are looking at planning and tracking for young people. So we're trying to identify the particular young people who need transition key worker support, and through that process we hope to continue to develop a database which we've started developing, which will give us a more informed decision-making process around commissioning and using a working together to change model, which we've had a trial, and would like to take that forward so that we can have a more informed commissioning process. In terms of preparing for the individual development plans, we've used as much of the knowledge which is coming out from the trials as possible to build our plan really, so that when the legislation does come in, then hopefully we're we're more ready for it than we would have been otherwise.
Our journey started for us last February when I was invited by Karen James, who was the project worker locally for key working, and she asked me to go along. She'd already sat in our sort of annual reviews and was interested in how key working could take our annual reviews further down the line. I attended the training, and by the end of the second day I was a little bit hooked, and being a little bit hooked, I came back to staff to say we need to do something. The difficult part for us was that we had year 9 annual reviews very quickly after it. We were lucky enough to have a young lady called Amanda, who was a trainee social worker, who could act as my key worker for that amount of time. She then came on board. She interviewed all my parents, she interviewed all the children for me at the time, and she gave me enough data to run an annual review in a PCP way. After one tranche, I was devastated, absolutely devastated to find that I didn't know my children as well as I thought I did. It was arrogant. And at the end of the first tranche, even though it cost us sleepless nights and lots more time, and did stress us a little bit, I have to say, we're never going back, ever now. It's changed everything we do for the children and for the parents and for us as staff. We think about education in a different way, whereby I think we focused on education inside the school building, and as long as what we did inside the school building was good enough, that was alright at best. Now we feel that education is about the whole of the child and everything else counts. For example, in the first tranche, our youngsters, one of the main things to come out of it was that school was doing well. There were little niggles here or there that we could alter. However, the biggest thing that we needed to change was the fact that the youngsters didn't have a social life outside of school.
As far as basic skills is concerned, we no longer use just general textbooks and storybooks. At Key Stage 4, we've now tried to gear it towards the needs of our Key Stage 4 pupils. I think we discovered an awful lot about our pupils that we didn't previously know. Things such as their concerns about life after school. For me, things like that I may have taken for granted, getting on a bus, travel, training, going to college, but that sounds very general. More specifically, things like walking into a canteen, what food do they serve? How do they pay for their food? It may seem basic to us, but it means an awful lot to our pupils, and I think we've taken that on board. And so now a lot of the literature and the materials we use are based around things like this: handling everyday money, jobs that they do around the house, things to do with things that concerns they have with regard to bullying, as well as social skills. How am I going to make my friends in college? Will I make friends? And these things are important to our pupils.
We employed one of our key workers that were already inside school. We promoted her into the role of a key worker, and since then she has done some lovely things. Like she's always available for the youngsters 24/7 in her corridor. She's got a room of her own so that the youngsters can come and talk at any point in time, and that was one of the issues they wanted. She set up a parental group that meets regularly. We've had a social club being set up. She's set up a newsletter for parents.
So we go shopping once a week. They have their own shopping list. They bring their own money, so they're able to go into the shops and spend the money themselves, make sure they got the right change. They then we've now bought different equipment so that they're able to lay a table themselves, because that like we said, you take that for granted. They're not able to. Washing the dishes after using them, that is all now incorporated in doing it. Things that everyday life is now, they're now able to take home as well and use it at home.
I became a key worker because I worked here as an LSA for 12 years, and in some fields when you're an LSA, they move you on to things that you are more suited to. and it became a fact where children were talking about things socially outside of school. That's kind of where my area was, where I helped them. So then I got offered a job as a key worker, which is when I started that. As part of my key worker role, I am involved with all the parents of all the pupils that are in our ERP unit in the school.
And this is early days yet for us. You know, this is the first year she's been in post. And I think she's running to catch up as we, you know, something changes every week. You know, we've had independence books, for example, introduced. To name just one of the strategies that she's introduced, sort of thing. And so there's been a whole array of things, and we're only talking since last February, so in a year, it's been an awfully big move for us already.
We have a parent support meeting once a month. I talk with the parents who turn up. Anybody's welcome. They come if they can make it. If they can't, I have a newsletter that comes as a result of the meeting. In the parent support, I've had speakers come in to talk about disability rights. I've had speakers come in to talk about DLA and carers allowance. I made a leaflet that lets them know about days out, places that I visited, that I know is accessible to their children, because I know the pupils and I know where they can take them, where they're able to go. I've also run a social club once a month, because out of these parent support, what came shining through is that none of these children have anywhere to socialise. They want to socialise, but firstly they can't, they don't know how to, because the communication skills are not great. And secondly, because the parents are afraid to even go anywhere with anybody who they don't know if they know their needs. Is it accessible to them? Is it safe for them? So I started a social club where we've had a cinema night, a disco night, a karaoke night, a McDonald's night. So they come, they socialise. I set up a shop sometimes in these social clubs that is run by ex-pupils who are now moved on to college. Also familiar faces for these pupils that are still here. Volunteering experience for those. Giving them, the pupils, a bit of power themselves, so they feel wanted and needed. And then the pupils that come to the event can see this is where maybe I could lead. I could work in our shop one day. They're all excited about maybe running the shop for free. They don't mind not earning any money for it.
I live with my mum, Judith, my dad, John, and my brother, Corey, and my cat, Chloe.
It's almost like Chloe's a bit bossy, isn't she? Where does she sleep?
Maybe anywhere where she wants.
So we've got a mum, Judith, and a dad, John, at home. Does mummy or daddy drive?
No, only my brother.
And is Corey at home at the moment?
No, he's in uni.
Okay. So if you wanted to meet up with, say, Richard or the twins in school, Brian and Curtis, how would you have to do it?
I might have to cut a bus. My brother says that I can give me a lift.
Fabulous. And that's why childcare was important to you this year.
When I come home from school, I get my Kit Kat and my milk, and I watch my films and that, and I watch Disney films and other films and that.
And how important is that Kit Kat and that milk to you?
It's a routine to me, it is. They're all like a routine, and I go downstairs to play on the computer, I look at the time and that, when it's time for me to come off the computer when I had enough. And my pets are important to me. I've got like 5 dogs and 3 gerbils. Well, we got the 2 of them down in the kitchen, you see, because the 3 of them are at the back, right? Because they don't get on, they like fight and that, they do. And that's why we got Tara and Buddy down in the kitchen.
My qualities and strengths include friendly, understanding, funny, very organised and kind. And I also like to keep a routine so I'm organised.
Is this what you think about yourself, Edward?
No, I asked the class what they think of me, and these are the comments I have back of them.
And you are very organised and you do really like a routine. You know when things don't go as organised as you like. How do you feel about it?
Frustrated and uncomfortable.
So inside school, that's what we've always got to remember, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that you like things quite in a certain way, and that's how we've been able to work together.
I don't like when people shout at me around me.
Yeah, it isn't just that, because you're really good now, you're really well behaved inside school. It's not just that you don't like people telling you off or shouting at you. It's anywhere in the room either or anywhere close to you. You don't like shouting going on at all.
Not so much.
So when we go into college, we need to think about that, don't we?
Yeah.
So for you to be able to see these people now that you've been in school with for the last 5 years, you have to travel on a bus to be able to see these boys, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's our plan, isn't it? But that's what we're working on right now, is for you to be able to see these boys outside of school time. And to be able to do that, all of these boys are involved in travel training at the moment, to meet up somewhere lovely and have a coffee or have a go to the cinema or something like that.
Well, Miss Harris, now right, the lady now right here, she's doing like social clubs now right for the kids to meet up and stuff like that. And Jessica wanted me to come, so for my first time I went and I quite enjoyed it. And she's asking me for sleepovers or meet up and that, and we have fun. And I like travel training. Travel training, all right. It's well, we travel with Miss Prescott and we travel with this other lady, all right, called Emma, and we catch buses like every Tuesday on a double cope, and it's learning how to grow up and go to college and that, how to catch buses with friends and that.
And how about his best friend then?
We have our moments, but we always care for each other. We always stick up for each other.
And do you see this friend inside school?
Yeah, she goes to the school and we see each other on weekends as well.
Has that been for very long that you've seen her outside of school as well?
It's been quite a while now, about a year or so. Things that help me. Knowing that someone is there to talk to when I am angry or upset. Show me around unfamiliar places, for example college, because I'm moving up to college in September. Someone helping me with a task I don't understand.
So which college are you hoping to go to in September?
Neath College.
And what are you hoping to study there?
Gateway taster courses for the first year, and then health and social if I like it.
So it's good that you sort of go through that first year trying lots of things out to see which one perhaps is your favourite and which is the best for you.
Yes.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
You know, you said that you have had somebody that you can talk to when you're angry or upset. Who's that been in school?
Miss Harris in the unit, and this man called Matthew Davis, who is based over the other side of the school. He's a youth worker, I think.
And how have you been able to access them? How can you get hold of these people?
You can just drop in and they'll be there.
When we get to college, is that how you'd like it to run for you in college as well?
Yeah, I want to know the person quite well.
Can you tell me a little bit about Miss Harris and the things she's done to help you?
She talks it over with me and she helps me calm down and she makes me laugh and happy.
Up until now, every time my daughter's had a school review, we've literally sort of gone into a room, there's been the head teacher or whoever, and whoever helps with Bethany, if they're available. We've been given like a piece of paper which basically tells us what she's been doing through the year, or if there's any sort of problems, you know. But it's very, very basic. We're actually like told what she's going to achieve within the next year, 6 months. And sometimes you just think, oh, this is absolutely ridiculous. There's no way she's going to achieve that in that period of time. Well, just recently now, probably the last 2 reviews we've had has made a complete difference. It's a different way of, it's been worded, it's been accessed from Bethany's point of view as well as ours. Everybody's listening to us, which is a huge thing. Being a parent, being isolated and not being listened to is so frustrating. With this new review, they've taken on board what we want, what we need, and what the child wants and the child needs for now and for their future. The last time we went into a review meeting, Bethany was included. She felt like part of the meeting, although Bethany is SLD, so she's quite slow learner. She doesn't understand everything, but she knows when she's included and when she's not, the same as most children.
At first, he was just so distressed, wasn't he? He'd be coming into school, crying, spending a lot of time in the sensory room. He'd be coming home saying that, you know, he was stupid, he didn't want to be here no more, he didn't want, you know, and it just got to the point where seeing him so upset, it was upsetting me, and you know, I was coming into the school, and you know, it'd come to a point where you felt like I wasn't actually getting anywhere with the school, because you know, he had to be integrated, he had to do these things, and you know, it just wasn't working. But as I said, since we had the meeting and we did his likes and dislikes, that seemed to, at least it showed him that we was trying, because he, you know, he would say to me that I didn't understand, and you know, I'm his mum, I did understand, but it was just, you know, the way,
do anything about it.
he just couldn't. So with him actually seeing the likes and dislikes on the board, it made a huge difference for him and for me, because he could actually see what was going on, and
what's working, didn't we, and what's not working, and then worked on what wasn't working.
Yeah, that's it.
And then how long was it? We had another meeting.
It's probably about another 4 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah,
as I
we
said,
had another meeting.
Yeah,
did the same again.
That's it. And as I said, now, as I said, with him doing all the stuff that, you know, he's much happier. That at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is if he's happy.
Yeah. And he goes on his tiptoes, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He does. He likes to pace around on his tiptoes, doing his hands, and you know, because we lost that little boy for a while, and it just, you know. But as I said, now he's got more confidence, and as I say, the project work that he's doing, that's absolutely brilliant.
This project for science, history, things he's excited about.
That's it. And so the main bit with the mainstream, he just couldn't cope with it. And at least now he's doing work, he is learning, but he's also happy as well. So that's the main.
Brilliant. Since the new change in school, we've set up a social club. Has that made any difference to Isabel?
Oh, definitely, because the big thing for Isabel was to have friends. And as I said earlier, I find for Isabel, they're kind of the lost children. They're not disabled enough for a lot of groups, but they can't cope with mainstream. So yeah, the social club has been brilliant, because she's with children of her own abilities, and it's her friends from school, just like a normal child would be. She's getting out there now with her friends. They need people like yourselves then, that they recognise, that they feel safe with, because to go somewhere that they don't know people, that's too much for them. They might have got their friends, but they need an adult that they can turn to and they feel safe with, I think.
And do you think having a key worker is helped you with Isabel when you've had issues with school?
Hugely, knowing that you're there and I can ring you, and sometimes you think, oh, this is trivial, I can't ring and say this, or you know, just knowing I can pick up the phone and it's Julia and I know Julia and it's fine, it makes a huge difference. I think every child with needs like Isabel should have a key worker, definitely. Yeah. You're no longer a teacher, you're a friend, and I think that is really important. And I think it's important that the parents have all got to know each other, so we all know the little things I might have thought was trivia, but it's nice to know Bethany's mother thinks it's trivia as well, but together we realise, yeah, we go and talk to Julia.
Yeah, good.
So yeah, brilliant.
The learners are far more involved in their reviews this year, and it was really positive to see that this year they were controlling it. It wasn't just talking about what they were doing in maths and English, it was talking about where their fears were for coming to college. It was talking about what their parents' fears were. And you saw a totally different aspect from the parents. You saw the parents actually becoming involved in it. You saw the parents actually admitting and saying, okay, I do everything for them at home. And Chris actually tackling some of those issues and saying, well, if this youngster is going to be independent one day, they're not going to be able to live with you all the time, how are you going to manage that? And that was some really positive things coming out of those reviews. And now I feel we've really got to mirror that.